Don't let the imagined arguments that you're having in your head ruin this moment right now. What would happen if you stopped imagining the arguments that might happen in the day? What would happen if you allow yourself to just be in the moment rather than replaying things in your head that never even happened? So often we get caught up in the imagined conversations that we have with people that sometimes we're a little bit nervous about having. Sometimes we get stirred up in the middle of the night because we're replaying a conversation that we had from the day before, and reimagining all the things that we could have said differently, whether they would have been proving a point, whether they would have been less argumentative, whether they would have been a calmer approach to something that triggered you in a way that you didn't truly mean to have come out towards that person that you were having the conversation with. When we have the ability to replay all these different memories in our head, we wind up getting into this chaotic mode of rewatching, replaying, reimagining, and sometimes even distorting the reality of what is. And we find ourselves bouncing back and forth between the old conversations that have already happened, the new conversations that could potentially happen in the future, or what you would want to say if you could go back. And we realize that we're going back and forth from the past and the future, and we're forgetting to live in this moment right now when you actually can take care of yourself, calm yourself down, and be prepared for what the future might bring. Realizing that we can't change the past. The future hasn't happened yet, and we do want to prepare ourselves for what may or may not happen. But we also don't want to get caught up in the anxiousness of playing this game with ourselves that not only is exhausting, but is stealing ourselves from the moment that we're living in right now. I know that so often I've allowed myself to stay up at night replaying the conversations from the previous day, sometimes just a few hours before I went to lay down and hopefully have a good night's rest. I cannot stop replaying all the things in my head that I could have done differently. And I beat myself up, and I get angry with the words that I chose and the way that I could have approached it, but I didn't. And I realize that I'm getting myself depressed and at the same time worked up, when I should be really caring for myself and relaxing and allowing myself in those moments of rest to actually rest and recharge and acknowledge that my body is in recovery mode. But instead, I'm almost burning more calories and getting more excited from something that's already happened and gone that I could allow myself to let go of, but I don't. How often do you find yourself staying up at night thinking about the previous day, and not necessarily the fond memories of all the great things that happened, which would allow us to slip into a dream of the blessing that is our life, but getting wrapped up in the whirlwind of all the things that should have been said, could have been said, the disappointments that we have in ourselves for the way we approached conversations or interactions with people. Sometimes the reality that we don't know the subtext of anyone else's life, nor do they know the subtext of ours. And sometimes we're not as transparent as we think we are with how we're doing and how we're showing up to a conversation, even in just a simple moment of interaction. And a lot of times we don't realize that we are not giving that same grace to other people. Your body physically needs to recover at night. There are chemicals that need to be released in the body that can help cleanse and detoxify and to allow for recovery and recharge and healing, both in a physical and an emotional sense. The sleep that we have at night is not a luxury. It is a necessity for ourselves to be able to show up the next day and the next week and so on. Many studies have been done with the effects of lack of sleep to the quality of life and the length of life. I'm not talking about the times where we wish we had a longer period that we could sleep, but I'm talking about when we are given a certain window of time to sleep. and we don't use it because we are so wrapped up in something that happened the previous day, or even worse, the anxiety of the day to come, we don't allow ourselves to rest because we are in this rehearsal mode of everything that might be coming up in the future, even just in the next few hours. How often have you woken up at 2 o'clock in the morning thinking about what is going to happen at 9 o'clock in the morning? You know, you have 7 hours between that, and yet you are allowing all of the energy that could be put towards that time to be utilized in the middle of the night when you have a potential to rest, recover, recharge, reset, and allow yourselves to be who you need to be for yourself. We can care for people all we want to. I mean, there's a lot of love that we can offer both to family members, to people that we care for, to friends and other members of the extended family. The world in general needs more love in it. But we have to make sure that we're filling up our own cup and caring for ourselves. And part of that caring for ourselves is not burning ourselves out in rehearsal, because the show of life is left without the energy that it needs to truly be the experience that it could be. There have been nights that I was maybe given and blessed with 6-7 hours of potential sleep, and I've gotten 2. All because I was burning myself out with this rehearsal in my mind, bouncing back and forth between the rehearsal of the next day and the replay of the previous day. And I was disrespecting myself. I was disrespecting the people that I was distorting the memory of those conversations with. I was getting myself angry, not only at myself, but at others when they weren't even a part of it anymore. Everything that I was in the space of was me in my own mind. I mean, there are interactions with people that perhaps we would have benefited from not having in our previous day, in our previous week, in our previous month. But even Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about how we hold on to these things in our bodies so much. And we not only start to program ourselves into the emotions and the feelings that we have, but we program ourselves into the mood that we experience and we go through life with, because we are reliving something that's already happened. The past is the past. We have no ability to go back and change the past. We have the power to accept where we are. The things that have happened, and the best thing we can do for ourselves is set ourselves up for success, not by over-rehearsing what could happen in the future, but allowing ourselves to be in the moment. And if the moment is the middle of the night, then that moment is meant for you to bless yourself with a recovering rest and recharge so that you can show up to the show of life. You don't go to a movie and when you're watching a movie, you start to think, wow, those actors must have been really tired when they recorded this. No, because they show up, because that's what the world is going to see. They can put in rehearsal time. The world is not going to see the rehearsal. The world is going to see the production. The world is going to see the show, and how you show up when you step on that stage of life in the world is exactly what it's going to present itself as. And that is what people are going to see. They unfortunately do not see all the work and all the rehearsal that you've put into your own mind. And they don't see how much you've beaten yourself up and how little sleep that you get. They will not get the subtext of what has been happening. So for yourself, for the people you care for the world around you, take care of yourself. You are allowed to let go of yesterday, to look forward to tomorrow, but even more so, you are allowed to be in the moment right now. And if that is 2 o'clock in the morning, if that is in the middle of the afternoon, if you find yourself not living in that moment and respecting the life that you have, living the human experience, being in that moment is what will make life worth living. I mean, what would happen if you could stop pre-living your pain? That's really what this is all about, because we know that we stir up stresses and pains from old conversations. We fear the pain of the future. But in the moment, we're creating pain that doesn't actually exist. Pain, having things happen in the world, the circumstances that are painful, are sometimes out of our control. But living in that pain after it's gone or before it's happened, that is a suffering that we have control over. We don't need to live in a state of suffering. In fact, it is hurting us. It is hurting our life. It is hurting the lives of the people that we influence and we touch every day, that are hoping for their own lives that we show up as our best self. And so that we can show the love and the respect and the honoring of the people around us that we care for so much, that we've dedicated our life to in so many different ways. Whether it be your kids, your parents, your siblings, even the people that we care for on a caregiving basis if you're a caregiver. The reality is that you show up as your best self and they will receive the love that you want to be giving them. You can't force yourself to be calm, but you can allow yourself to let go of that pain, and that calming wash will come over you and make life a beautiful experience. And that's truly what we are meant to do, is to live life fully and in a beautiful way. I believe that you can do this, and I believe that when you catch yourself in those moments of replaying the past or rehearsing the future, that you have the ability to step out of that and say, I'm going to give myself a moment of grace. I'm going to clear my mind. I'm going to take a deep breath. I'm going to allow myself to be in this moment. I'll see you next time.